Hi, I'm Sarah, a 45-year-old single mom and a nurse from Detroit. I'm running on just 4 hours of sleep. My scrubs still smell like the hospital, and I'm juggling two teenagers while my mother-in-law breathes down my neck. Yep, just another Tuesday in paradise. My daughter Amber is a real lifesaver, always helping out and keeping her grades up. But my son Jake, let's just say he's giving me more gray hairs than my job in the ER. Jake, for the love of God, would it kill you to pick up your dirty socks? I yelled up the stairs, knowing full well I'd end up picking them up later. Leave me alone, Mom. I'm busy, came his muffled reply. I rolled my eyes so hard I thought they might stick that way. Busy doing what? Plotting world domination from your Xbox. Amber walked in, looking exhausted from her part-time job at the mall. Don't bother, Mom. He's been like that all week. I sighed, pulling her into a hug. I don't know what I'd do without you, kiddo. Just then, my phone buzzed. Great, another lecture from the queen of criticism herself. My mother-in-law, Barbara. Sarah, darling, I hope you're not working another night shift. Those children need a mother, not a ghost. Barbara's voice dripped with judgment. Gritting my teeth, I replied, Barbara, I appreciate your concern, but I've got this under control. Do you? Because I heard Jake skip school again yesterday. Dan, how does she always know? Handling it, Barbara. Is there something else you needed? She paused, and I could practically hear the judgment through the phone. Well, I was wondering if you'd given any thought to Amber's graduation gift. A nice piece of jewelry, perhaps. I smiled, thinking of the surprise I had planned. Actually, I got something special in mind. Later that week, I snuck up to a used car lot during my lunch break. Amber had been saving up for a beater, but with college coming up, I wanted to give her a head start. I found a decent Honda Civic, nothing fancy, but reliable. As I signed the papers, I couldn't help but feel a twinge of guilt. Jake wouldn't be getting a car anytime soon. Not with his current behavior, but Amber had earned this. Of course, nothing stays secret for long in this family. Somehow, Barbara found out about the car and lost her mind. A car for Amber, and what about Jake? How could you be so blatantly unfair? I tried to explain. Barbara, Amber's going to college. She needs reliable transportation. Jake can't even keep his room clean, let alone handle a car. You're playing favorites, Sarah. Mark my words, this will come back to bite you. Jake will resent you for this, and I won't stay quiet about it. As I hung up the phone, my stomach churned. Barbara was a master manipulator, and I knew she'd make good on her threat to tell Jake. Graduation was just around the corner, and instead of celebrating, I was bracing for a family meltdown. Little did I know, this was just the beginning of a storm that would turn our lives upside down. But hey, that's life as a single mom, right? Always expecting the unexpected and hoping for the best. If only I knew then what I know now. I was bustling around the backyard, making sure everything was perfect for Amber's graduation party. The grill was fired up, streamers were hanging, and a big congrats, grad banner fluttered in the breeze. I even managed to wrangle Jake into helping, though he was soaking by the cooler. Jake, honey, can you grab some more ice from the garage? I asked. He rolled his eyes. Why can't Amber do it? It's her stupid party. Because she's getting ready, and I'm asking you. Please? Just as Jake trudged off, Amber came out, beaming in her new dress. Mom, this is amazing. Thank you so much. I hugged her tight. You deserve it, sweetie. I'm so proud of you. The guests started arriving, and soon the backyard was buzzing with chatter and laughter. I was just about to reveal the car surprise when I spotted a familiar figure marching through the gate. Oh no, I muttered under my breath. Sarah. Barbara's shrill voice cut through the party noise. What a lovely gathering, though I don't recall receiving an invitation. I plastered on a fake smile. Barbara, what a surprise. We weren't expecting you. Clearly, she sniffed, eyeing the decorations. I suppose my invitation got lost in the mail again. Before I could respond, Amber rushed over. Grandma, you made it. Barbara's demeanor softened slightly. Of course, dear, I wouldn't miss my only granddaughter's graduation. I caught Jake's eye across the yard, his face darkening at Barbara's words. Trying to salvage the situation, I called for everyone's attention. All right, everyone, it's time for Amber's big surprise. I led the group to the front yard, where the Honda was parked with a big bow. Amber's eyes went wide. No way, Mom. Is this for real? I nodded, grinning. You've earned it, honey. As Amber hugged me, squealing with joy, I heard Barbara's voice cut through the excitement. Well, isn't this generous? I do hope you're planning something equally impressive for Jake's graduation next year. The crowd went quiet as Jake stepped forward, his face a mix of hurt and anger. You bought her a car. I tried to explain. Jake, honey, it's not what you think. But Barbara cut me off. It's exactly what it looks like, Jake. Your mother clearly has a favorite child. Barbara, that's enough. I snapped, but the damage was done. Jake turned to me, his voice shaking. Is that true, Mom? You love Amber more than me? Of course not, sweetie. I love you both equally. I tried to reassure him. He yelled, causing some of the guests to gasp. You're always on my case, but Amber can do no wrong. And now this. Amber tried to intervene. Jake, come on, it's not like that. Shut up, he snarled. You're always taking her side. Both of you suck. With that, Jake stormed off, slamming the front door behind him. The party dissolved into awkward murmurs. Barbara stood there, looking smug. Well, I hate to say I told you so, Sarah, but... Get out, I hissed. Now. As Barbara left, I turned to find Amber in tears. Mom, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to cause all this drama. I hugged her tightly. This isn't your fault, sweetie. It's mine. I should have handled this better. The rest of the party was a bust. Later that night, as I cleaned up, I heard Jake's voice drifting from his room. He was on the phone, speaking in hushed tones. Yeah, man, I'm telling you, she's got it coming. Now listen, I've got a plan. It'll teach her to play favorites. My blood ran cold. What was he up to? I wanted to burst in and confront him, but something held me back. Maybe if I gave him some space, he'd cool off. But as I lay in bed that night, I couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning of something much worse. How had everything gone so wrong so fast? And more importantly, how was I going to fix it? The weeks after Amber's graduation were like walking on eggshells. Every time I tried to talk to Jake, he'd either ignore me or snap back with some smart-ass comment. It was driving me up the wall. One morning, I cornered him in the kitchen. Jake, we need to talk about what happened at the party, I said. He just grunted, pouring himself some cereal. Look, I know you're upset about the car, but... He slammed the milk carton down. You don't know, Mom. Just leave me alone. Hey, watch your language. I'm still your mother. Could have fooled me, he muttered, shouldering past me. I sighed, rubbing my temples. This was getting us nowhere. Later that week, I was doing laundry when I noticed Jake's pockets were full of cash, like way more than a kid his age should have. My stomach dropped. That night, I confronted him. Jake, where'd you get all this money? I asked. He shrugged, not looking up from his phone. Got a job. No after-school gig pays this much. What are you into? He finally met my eyes, and the coldness there scared me. None of your business. You're not the only one who can keep secrets in this family. Before I could respond, he stormed out, slamming the door behind him. The next day, I was reorganizing the medicine cabinet when I noticed something off. My prescription for pain meds from my back surgery was nearly empty. I barely touched the damn things. Amber, I called out, have you seen anyone messing with the medicine cabinet? She appeared in the doorway, looking confused. No, why? I shoved her the bottle. Her eyes went wide. You don't think Jake? I nodded grimly. I'm afraid so. What are you going to do? I don't know, honey. I just don't know. A few days later, I was at work when my phone rang. It was the school principal. Miss Thompson, this is Principal Anderson. There's been an incident involving Jake. The police are here. My heart stopped. What? What happened? I think it's best if you come down here immediately. I rushed to the school, my mind racing. When I got there, 2 cops were leading Jake out in handcuffs. He looked scared shitless. What the hell is going on? I demanded. One of the officers turned to me. Mom, we caught your son selling prescription drugs on school grounds. He's facing some serious charges. There has to be some mistake. Jake, tell them this is all a misunderstanding. He just looked at me, his eyes full of anger and fear. I'm sorry, Mom. I really screwed up this time. As they took him away, I collapsed onto a nearby bench, my whole world spinning. How had it come to this? Just when I thought things couldn't get worse, I heard a familiar voice. Well, well, well. I hate to say I told you so, Sarah, but... I looked up to see Barbara standing there, looking way too pleased with herself. What the hell are you doing here, Barbara? I demanded. She sat down next to me, uninvited. I heard about poor Jake's predicament. Such a shame. If only someone had been paying more attention to him. I narrowed my eyes. What are you talking about? She smiled, all fake sympathy. Oh, Sarah, did you really think Jake came up with this rebellious streak all on his own? He needed someone to confide in, someone who understood how neglected he felt. The pieces clicked into place. You manipulative. I seethed. You've been egging him on this whole time, haven't you? She shrugged nonchalantly. I merely pointed out the obvious. You clearly favor Amber. Jake needed to know someone was on his side. I stood up, shaking with rage. Get out. Now, and don't you dare come near my family again. Or I swear to God, Barbara, I'll make you regret it. As she sauntered away, I pulled out my phone with trembling hands. I had to call a lawyer, figure out how to get Jake out of this mess. But one thing was crystal clear. Barbara had to go for good this time. I was pacing outside the interrogation room when Jake's lawyer, Mr. Martinez, came out looking grim. How bad is it? I asked, my stomach in knots. He sighed. It's not great, Miss Thompson, but Jake's agreed to cooperate. He's telling them everything. Just then, a detective approached us. Miss Thompson, your son's given us some interesting information. You might want to hear this. Inside, Jake looked up at me, his eyes red and puffy. Mom, I'm so sorry. I never meant for it to go this far. What are you talking about, honey? I asked gently. He took a deep breath. It wasn't just me. Grandma Barbara was the one supplying the pills. She said it would teach you a lesson for favoring Amber. My jaw dropped. Are you serious? The detective chimed in. We've got enough to bring her in for questioning. This changes things significantly for Jake. I turned to Mr. Martinez. What does this mean for my son? If he continues to cooperate, we might be able to get him into a diversion program instead of jail time, but he'll need to go to rehab. Jake nodded frantically. I'll do it, Mom. I swear I'll get clean. As we left the station, my phone buzzed. It was Barbara. Sarah, darling, I heard Jake's been released. I'm so relieved. I cut her off. Save it, Barbara. The cops are on their way to pick you up. How could you do this to your own grandson? There was a long pause. I don't know what you're talking about. Cut the crap. Jake told them everything. You're going down for this. Her voice turned desperate. Sarah, please, you can't let this happen. I'm family. No, you're not. Not anymore. Goodbye, Barbara. I hung up, feeling a weight lift off my shoulders. Later that week, we were sitting in our first family therapy session. Amber reached out and squeezed Jake's hand. I'm sorry I made you feel left out, bro. When you get your license back, we can share the car if you want. Jake gave a small smile. Thanks, sis. And Mom, I'm sorry for everything. I know you were just trying to help. I felt tears welling up. We've all made mistakes, but we're going to get through this together. As we left the therapist's office, I saw Barbara being led away in handcuffs on the evening news. Karma had finally caught up with her. Looking at my kids, I knew we had a long road ahead. But for the first time in ages, I felt hope. We were going to be all right. The story has ended, but now I have a question for you. If you were in my shoes, would you ever forgive Barbara for manipulating Jake and nearly destroying our family? Or is some betrayal too deep to come back from? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your perspective might help someone else dealing with toxic family drama. If you enjoyed this wild ride, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more real-life stories. Trust me, the drama never stops in this family.